Hey guys, welcome back and happy Friday. It's time to take a look at, we got a little Pikachu article here. If anyone has the actual document, the actual cease and desist, please send it my way. I would love to actually read through it. I think this is a good thing. I know it's weird. It's weird that we live in a time where everyone's doing buyouts, but there's buyouts. Be careful. There might be buyouts. People might buy something out. They might try to make a quick buck. They might successfully do it. They might not successfully do it. It's been a thing sort of forever, but it's been an extra hot topic and seemingly an extra, I guess, exploited thing in recent times. Now, take that a step further and we have fake sales. Now, buyouts, yes, you have to be careful for those, but there's not really anything illegal. If somebody wants to buy all of the Magikarps in existence, if they want to buy all the Gastlys, if they want to buy 1,000 Gastlys and they want to try to increase the price and try to sell them and make their money back, they might succeed, they might not succeed, but it's a thing. As a normal consumer, you need to look out for that. You need to don't. Guys, for the love of God, if everyone's after something, if something spikes in price, please just take a second and remember that you probably should not participate in whatever's going on there. If you're looking for a copy of it, if you think you need it, if you think it's never going to exist again, take a look at what the rarity is. Take a look at what the demand was for it just prior to whatever spike happened, and think to yourself, hey, is this gonna retrace? And I think a lot of the Sword and Shield stuff is going to retrace. I think a lot of it was underrated, but it should not blow up the way that it did. It's the same with the COVID situation. We had stuff that was just stupidly spiking in price. And yes, there's tons of new people that are involved with Pokemon that started collecting Pokemon because of the old pandemic. But again, what goes up sharply probably is going to come down pretty sharply too. Might not retrace all the way back to what it originally was, but we got plenty of examples. Now, let's get into the article here. They go into detail. Pikachu goes into detail here about what's going on, and I'm going to tell you why I think this is a good thing. I mean, it's never a good thing when price manipulation or people buying and selling stuff to make money on it or sitting on sealed product or any of that stuff. It's part of the market. But when somebody's faking stuff, faking sales, whether it's on eBay, whether it's on TCG Player, whether it's on Card Market, those platforms should be looking to protect the buyers, their customers. That's what it comes down to, and I think this is largely that. So here we go. Card Market takes legal action against Pokemon TCG market manipulators, seeks damages. So definitely some damages. I mean, reputation-wise, they need to be all over this. TCG Player needs to be all over this. They need to be taking a look at that. If there's new accounts that are selling this stuff, it should be, I mean, maybe they need to just not include it in the sales history. If it's like brand new accounts, if they catch someone doing this, absolutely the person should be banned from using their platform. But there's got to be some safeguards. Maybe if they see that there's a bunch of sales happening for something and there's all brand new selling accounts, maybe they need to be more strict with people setting up selling accounts and the amount of like identification required. I haven't set up to sell on TCG Player or Card Market, so I don't know exactly what that is. If anyone would like to share that information, what the process is. I know we've had some problems with whatnot, and I think their onboarding is a little bit too lax. They need to vet their sellers a little bit more. The stuff coming out of there, if you watched the video yesterday, pretty damn ridiculous. We had to do doxing the customers, showing the customers information on screen, ripping cards up, like just unhinged, absolute poop show. Now, Card Market, often dubbed the European version of TCG Player, pretty much, appears to be taking legal action against sellers who manipulate the market prices of Pokemon cards on its platform. So if you're not using TCG Player, if you're not using Card Market, you're pretty much doing yourself a disservice. I mean, if you're European and more the end of the Card Market stuff, that, or if you have a friend that's European and you're looking for like exclusive promos, like I typically am, yeah, it's a good place for that stuff. Good place to save a lot of money rather than buying it from somebody that imported it already. In a cease and desist letter obtained by Pikachu, the company has accused the seller of creating over 200 fake accounts to manipulate the price of Pikachu with Gray Felt Hat promo card. So again, this is probably somebody that had boxes of them or whatever. We've seen quite a few boxes that were borrowed. They were stolen. Essentially, they were not meant to be released that way. It's the same with like if we have like staff promos or if we have anything of that sort, or the booster packs, the play packs, prize series packs, and they're not distributed in the way that they're supposed to be. They're essentially stolen. I mean, worse, a little bit worse when you get a full box of like the Pikachu with gray felt hat. Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen from print facilities. It's going to happen from distribution. It's going to happen from the events where the events were held themselves. But this is probably somebody that was sitting on a crap load of those. They're making their fake accounts. They can use a VPN. They can do all kinds of things. But this is one of those things that like these companies, the companies that are allowing people to sell on their platform, I mean, they can all do a better job. They absolutely can. There's a ton of precautions, a ton of stuff. Maybe they can even set up alerts. They're like, hey, well, there's a lot of sales happening with this here. And then they can have someone go in and manually review whether or not that's the same person. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, and then maybe there has to be a threshold of some kind for like if there's so many sales from a same account, so many sales from new accounts. Were the fake accounts like just brand new freshies that are selling this stuff? And well, they probably, I mean, if we didn't see anything like this before, they probably thought they could get away with it. In this type of fraud, the seller uses fake accounts to buy the cheapest listings without paying for them, which temporarily removes them from the marketplace. This then allows the seller to offer their own listings for what they want the cheapest price to be. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe it has to be paid before it removes the item so that people can see that. I'm not sure exactly what needs to be in place here to avoid that sort of thing. But also, I guess if there's people that they could be listing and making fake purchases from their own accounts as well at lower prices. So like there's tons of ways that people are going to try to exploit this. Remember, guys, if there's money to be made, someone is going to try to do something fraudulent in order to make that money, in order to make more money. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen with the pandemic how many crimey dimes have kind of joined the fray. I think a lot of them have moved on to other things now that the money is not so free. Maybe some of these the sketch doggers that have stuck around are looking for other like cheesy ways to get some money. Cheesy, or cheesy is probably not the best word. Shady ways. Damn, I feel like a Chester the cheetah. You bought competing offers that you never paid for nor had the intention to do so, Card Market's letter says. You consistently aim to provide the lowest price for this specific card on our marketplace. In a total of 31 cases, you were able to sell the Pikachu with gray felt hat card with this action. Ooh, so they even have like the, I guess, examples of where he was selling the cards and where the other ones were falsely purchased. I mean, this is all around. This is super fraud. This is, I don't know if there's such a thing as super fraud, but it's pretty damn fraudulent. The company goes on to say this behavior is anti-competitive and is at least punishable as fraud. Card Market's letter estimates the seller's actions caused over 12,000 euros in damages, or about $13,000. The seller must pay Card Market, or the company will presumably take them to court. Anecdotally, Pokemon cards have become more prone to price manipulation in recent years. Card Market's legal action appears to be their response to a growing problem. Yeah, so I don't know if this exploit can even happen on TCG Player. But surely you can have fake sales. People can fake the sales, but these companies need to stay ahead. It's kind of part of their job, protecting the buyers on the platform. Same with if they end up with scammers selling on the platform, not shipping things, whatever. Make sure that they're looking after their customers. That's kind of what it comes down to. So we have some weird, people are, if it's scalping, if it's like people doing buyouts, yes, I feel like people need to stand up and do a better job to like inform people of what's going on here so they don't get taken advantage of. It's shady. It's sucky. It's the same with like if people were going to Walmart and filling their cart and bringing it home and putting it on Whatnot and selling it at a premium. Yeah, it's shady. Is it allowed? Yes. Should people just not support those actions if they don't like them? Absolutely. I think that's the answer to that. I know it's not the case anymore. Usually people are not going to Walmart. I'm talking pandemic times, but that's when the cries were the loudest. People were upset. The scalpies were getting all the product. Pokemon product these days is very available. If you do shopping, you don't even need to look for the sketchiest website of all time to get $3 less than you can buy from some very reputable places. I have tons of recommendations if you need it, but you can save a lot of money. You can get pretty much anything that you want. Can you get it after it's out in print anymore? Is it going to be the same price? No, probably not. But typically when stuff is coming out these days, it's kind of back to normal. Other than the whole like Sword and Shield, Pumpy, Humpy, McDumpy. We're going to look at some of those examples here and see, I guess, a little update on some of the most popular stuff to see what's going on. I'll give some thoughts on that. But before we do here, let's go on to the old Reddit. There's a post here in regards to the card market legal action that's being taken. And we have some individuals here who say, hopefully TCG Player cracks down on this shit next, or this at least scares off some of the more blatant market manipulators. So again, there's a very, very big difference between somebody faking sales in order to sell their stuff at a premium and someone just buying everything and then selling it. You can't really hate it or not. If somebody wants to buy all of a single card and they want to list it for whatever, they could list it for $69,000. They could buy every single Magikarp. They could buy every what was the most recent one? The Eevee. They could buy 69,000 Eevees and list them all for $69,000 a piece. There's nothing you could do there. They're kind of taking a risk. They might end up getting burned on that because when it's a card that's not necessarily hard to pull, it's hard to say. But when if they're going in there and they're buying up all the cheap stuff, again, this is something that you guys need to be looking out for. This is something like, take a step back anytime something looks like it's crazy. I mean, anytime anything, even if there's just genuine hype around something, it's usually not a good time to buy it. Like when stuff is brand new, when stuff is playable, when stuff is brand new, when it's the new flashy thing, people are going to forget about it and move on to the next thing. You don't think there's going to be something else that's the new flashy new thing? People are going to forget about it and move on. There's a little bit of like a cling that's happening to the Sword and Shield stuff. But at one point in time, no one wanted that stuff. Now they want it because it's going up in price. People want what they can't have. People want stuff that's expensive. It's weird. I don't totally understand because that's not really my thought process on any of it. But again, this is where you want to take the path less traveled. Typically when you're making your Pokemon purchases, because if people are not looking at something else, especially with auctions, you're probably going to get some pretty sick, nasty deals on that stuff that you otherwise wouldn't. Instead of chasing the same thing that everyone wants. Less eyes on the other stuff. Good opportunity to push into other things. Yes, ma'am says market manipulation isn't illegal. What that guy did is called fraud. If I wanted to buy 1,000 Ghastlies and jack up the price, I can. Better investment options, but it's legal. Exactly. Thank you. I'm glad somebody said it. I mean, you can still disagree with anyone that's doing that type of thing. I think it's greasy to try to do like a buyout or something like that. I don't know what to tell you other than that. This is a whole nother level. We got fraud versus like being greasy with a buyout. Lucky saying, "Oh, not me being dumb. Just now learning buyouts have no buying involved." So that's not necessarily the case. Not necessarily the case. There can be fake sales. There always have been fake sales. There's been shill bids. You got to look out for shill bids. Don't get into a bidding war over anything. If there's shill bidding involved with something, it's very hard to prove it, even on like eBay or anything like that. But if you think there's shill bidding, or if you're bidding on something, like most of the stuff, if you're bidding on it, if it's an auction, you want to win it for less than what you can buy the card for. If not, then why do you not just go hit up buy it now? It's weird though, because if you don't do enough research, like a lot of this stuff, you need to know what you're looking at. You need to know pricing. You need to take a few extra minutes to go in, to take a look at the price and everything else. Because, man, even like the PWCC auctions, like from years ago, time and time again, you would see stuff selling. It'd be the exact same card in the same grade, and you could buy it for far less on eBay. It was available, buy it now, for significantly less than what the auction went for. It's just like, what are you doing here, guys? Please. That's what the whole thing involved with. Oh man, I got distracted there. We got the ICQ. Oh, the ICQ is shutting down. Heard that recently. That's unfortunate. I don't use it anymore. I don't think anyone does, but hearing that it's shutting down is a whole nother thing. We got the old link tree if you guys want to support the channel. Prefer that you do it in a way here. We got discount codes. Save yourself some money on some stuff from some reputable places. Again, nothing is foolproof. Your eBay, your like TCG Player, your Card Market and stuff like that. They're not. It's not like a instant like hold your hand. Everything is safe forever. But these are reputable things. These are tools that you should use. And it's much appreciated if you use the discount code or the affiliate links beforehand. Get with it. We got Card Market on here too. They're a channel partner, full disclosure, for the record. But I do think it's good. I do think that they need to put some precautions in, as well as all the other sites. So now the Sword and Shield, alt art. So yes, I think there's a whole mixture of FOMO and manipulation and just people trying to cling on to Sword and Shield. They don't like Scarlet and Violet for the most part. I don't totally get it. Scarlet and Violet is a friggin' banging. If you compare early Scarlet Violet to early Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet just absolutely demolishes it. And I get it. I think there's a lot of fatigue going in. I've noticed there's been quite a few people that are kind of falling off of the Pokemon card train. I've said it time and time again. Typically, people after a year burn themselves out on it. If you survive more than a year, if you keep going, don't burn yourself out. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Take your time, buy within your means, get the stuff that you really like, be smart about it. And if you're feeling burnout, do something else that's different, even if it's Pokemon. But try to stay on top of it, try to stay in it, take little breaks, whatever works for you, that you're not burning yourself out. It's a hobby, but also like it's an expensive hobby. If you can make a lot of expensive mistakes if you're not paying attention, and the longer you're in it, the more you know, the more that you're going to accumulate. People are like, oh my god, how do you get a really awesome collection? Just be in Pokemon for a really long time. I mean, you can pretty much collect Pokemon for free. You can buy collections. You do need some money to start out. You can buy some collections. You can flip some of the cards that you don't want. You can keep the cards that you do want, and you can essentially collect for free. It's if you have time. If you have more time than money, if you enjoy doing it, you can definitely do that. There's many ways to enjoy the hobby, to gradually accumulate, and you'll be surprised after years of buying this stuff, you have to make more smart decisions than poor decisions. Like, you're not going to win on everything in existence. Something might come down in price. Maybe you want to open some packs every now and then. And yes, it would have been a better option to keep the pack sealed or to buy something else. Or there's always a better option. You can't predict the future, but if you're generally making smart decisions, avoid buying stuff that just spiked in price like crazy, you're going to do really well. I promise. Be informed about it. There's so many people that they get into Pokemon. They're like, oh, it's free money. I get what should I buy? What am I doing? What am I learn? That's kind of what I kind of learn about it. Now, Umbreon VMAX, whether you're a collector, whether you're a Stonk Dogger Extreme, you want to learn about the cards. You got to learn about a little bit if it's modern, you got to learn about playability to some extent in order to make smart decisions on what you're buying, what you're selling. You should know that especially if it's a card that you don't want and it's playable, you should be selling that off to get something else, that sort of thing. Now, we got a little retrace action, and be careful with any of this data. We got 648.99 here, 529. Here we have 648. So also we got like Japanese. We got They need to clean this up. Is also one of the biggest things here. We get 0% 41 sales. So take all of the data with a grain of salt, guys. Please don't just like look at. I've seen people posting too. They're like, "Oh my God, look, Moonbrion's $944." But then you scroll down, and like photo lightly played. What the? It says near mint, lightly played. Then you scroll down and it's not the same price. This is like the direct from TCG player. It's typically going to be a little bit more expensive than somebody like shipping it out themselves. It's a whole different thing. Then you also have to look at the solds. Then you have to take into consideration that the solds data might not be perfect. There's a lot to take into consideration here. But also, is it going to retrace? Probably. Do I think that Moonbryon should be $900? No, not really. Not really. I think it should be expensive. It's sought after. People love it. But it's to the point that like if somebody wants to go get Sword and Shield packs from like multi-pack products and they break them down and they're opening this stuff, that it might even be profitable, or it might be very close to it. If you're breaking down tins for like Evolving Skies or something. Yes, it's very hard to pull the alt arts as we experienced. And it's very hard to pull individual ones, but if stuff goes up, certain packs might be actually worth opening. And I mean, the packs are still available, guys. Sword and Shield was very recent. Same with boxes. We got the Evolving Skies booster box that seems to have leveled off here. Yes, people are going to continue to open it. Yes, at some point in time, this is going to be $1,000 box. At some point, again, it's just like this whole spike here is a little ridiculous. When we're going from like $400 to $700 from like November, it's too much, too fast, too much, and you got to kind of expect some retracing, whether it's manipulated, whether it's buyout related, whether it's people trying to hop on when it's doing this thing, and then it pitters off. Is it going to level out? Is it going to come back down? It'll probably come back. Is it ever going to reach the low here of 230? Probably not. But that's just it. Like, why? That's the thing too. Ask yourself, if you didn't want this Lugia, when it was $114, why do you want it when it's $215? Is it because it's expensive? And then also, we got a lot of like up and down here. This is a polarizing card. We got the Umbreon. The Umbreon was ridiculous. It was like a $90 card forever. I'd say forever. It wasn't really that long. It hasn't been out that long. And it just kind of doubled in price. We got some weird stuff going on here. Is it going to retrace? I think it will. And also, just when people can't make a buck on it, do they move on to something else? And or is this going to be a trend? Is this like what we're looking at now? The thing is too that a lot of the people that are in Pokemon right now, because there is that kind of like 1 year, couple year like flush out where people get bored of it and move on to other things. They go to another card game. They go to something completely different. Maybe they take a break. Maybe it's a long break. Maybe they come back at some point in time. But crazy. All right. Man, yeah, the Korean and the Japanese and the Chinese, they need like a filter for the different languages. It blows my mind that TCG Player doesn't at least have Japanese as a separate thing, that people are listing the Japanese cards in under the English stuff, which shouldn't be allowed, but you can't really blame them when there isn't really a better option. Hard to pull. Magikarp, is it expensive because people want it because it's expensive, or is it expensive because it's really as great as it is? This is 3 Japanese sets though, so keep that in mind when you're pricing this thing out. The difficulty to pull the Magikarp is much higher than a lot of the other sets, other stuff, because there's 3 sets worth of IRs in here. The Japanese one is easy to pull. It's broken up, but when you have 30 something IRs in the set, pulling any individual one is much more difficult. We have the Ghastly. The Ghastly, I think, was the biggest example of the old manipulation here. We have started off $14. What did it go up to? $35. Now it's back down around $20. I think it can even come down some from there. Again, I think this is 2 sets, Temporal Forces, 2 Japanese sets, much easier to pull. Let's look at the Eevee. The Eevee too. Is it? I think some of it is manipulation, but also some of it is like just people craving the do they really not have this shit on here? Oh no, okay. Eevee Twilight. Jesus. All right, let's see here. So we had it start off at $25. That was before it released, right? Then we're up to $47, $48. It kind of dipped down here to 34. So I think this card is too expensive. 55 bucks. Again, we get Japanese. The Japanese IR. So it's weird to see because the Japanese IR is so much easier to get. You get, what do you get? 2, 3 of them per box. In a smaller box, in a less expensive box. There's only 12 of them in the set. Potentially. Because the sets are broken up into such smaller sets. Now, some of the, I mean, for the same reason, the SRs and the SARs, much harder to get because there's so many of them and you only get one per box. Well, I guess in English, yeah, it's still very difficult in Japanese. You need like a whole box to get something that might be a full art, it might be an SR, or it might be the SIR kind of thing. Now, what are we at here? $45.39. Pretty wild. $45. It's got a picture here, so it's probably damaged or something. I don't know, guys. What do you think about the Eevee? I think it's expensive. I think like long term, yes, it's an Eevee with Eevee slopped all over it. Surely people are gonna want that. People are craving Evolving Skies too. You think that's not coming? The Pokemon Company is not stupid. They know if they print an Evolution set, they got SIRs of all the Evolutions, Evolving Skies 2, essentially, that they're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. Right? All right, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're staying away from some of this stuff. This is crazy to me. Again, it's in the same boat as the Ghastly. I think it's kind of the same thing. I think it'll probably come down. Is a Ghastly? I get it. Ghastly is not Eevee, but like when you have Gengars and Haunters all over there, maybe I would think that they would be closer than what they are. And again, the Eevee is the new hype dog thing. I pulled like 7 of them from 1,000 booster packs, so it's not hard to pull. I get it. There's a lot of Eevee fans that are gonna want it, but it is the new flashy thing that we got to be careful with. Take care. Again, happy Friday. Join the Discord if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.